We just took Dauntless through a river crossing that came up to here on the wheel well. So to put that in perspective, we got to about here on the door. Pretty crazy stuff. Welcome back to Hourless Life, where we're driving around the world.
For those of you new to our channel, we're an American family of 3 on the trip of a lifetime. On October 9th, 2021, we left our home in the United States. And in late June 2022, this year, we crossed from Nicaragua into Costa Rica.
And today, we're going to tell you what it's really like overlanding here in Costa Rica. And at the end of the video, we're going to tell you how you can overland right here in Costa Rica without having to drive all the way down.
Like we did. Before we get started talking about Costa Rica, we want to say thank you for 20,000 subscribers.
Thank you guys so much.
We are so grateful. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And also hit that bell icon for notifications.
In today's video, you guys, we want to make sure you have an authentic understanding of what it's really like to overland here in Costa Rica. Yes, I'm getting rained on, and there's bugs flying around, and Brittany's inside the tent getting it ready for the night, and we're next to pretty cool little river. This is overlanding. It's not always easy, but it is an adventure, and tonight's our first night in Costa Rica.
Yeah, so we're going to be speaking from our experience here on the ground and giving you some things to think about before you were to make a trip like this.
All right, so when should you come to Costa Rica? That's the first question to ask yourself. There are 2 seasons. There's the rainy season and the dry season. The rainy season runs May through November, and the dry season runs December through April.
So during the rainy season, which is right now, it rains a whole lot.
It doesn't rain all day, but
it usually doesn't rain all day, but when it does rain, it's a downpour. And in most of the country, it'll usually be drier in the morning, and then the rain will show up in the afternoon or the evening. But because of the rain, there are some really good things. Number one, there are fewer tourists. It's not as busy.
And the prices are lower.
And the prices tend to be lower. And also because of the rain, it's more green, it's lusher, and there's more wildlife around too.
It's always nice to see howler monkeys, you guys. We see them all the time, every morning. They wake us up in the morning, and we've been seeing them all over Costa Rica.
Wildlife, including mosquitoes.
So, you know, that's just something to consider, but it's vastly different. There's also a dry season, and that comes with its own advantages and disadvantages. So in the dry season, there are definitely more tourists. There are fewer mosquitoes, but there's endless sunshine. However, it gets blisteringly hot in the afternoons here during dry season.
Do you remember that you're overlanding? So for the most part, you're probably sleeping in your vehicle, and you don't want to underestimate how the cool versus the hot will impact your sleep. And if you're not sleeping well, you're not going to have a good trip. And so that's definitely a plus about rainy season, is that the temperatures are lower.
Now, there's this weird anomaly. There's this area called Arenal. Supposedly, the rainy season and dry season flip-flop, which means that during May to October, it's their dry season.
Yeah, this is like a claim from the internet for all I know, because we were there for days during what was supposed to be the dry season, and it rained every single day, just like the rest of the country.
In all fairness, we were there during the time when Tropical Storm Bonnie passed through, which is very, very rare for Costa Rica to have hurricanes or tropical storms during this time of year.
Because hurricane season in Costa Rica is only what?
Yeah, it's October through the middle of November. It's like this really, really short window.
Really short hurricane season.
But we actually got caught in June in Tropical Storm Bonnie, and we got a little cabin to escape the rains.
Yeah, for sure. It was really nice, a nice break.
Regardless of when you come as an overlander, you are going to face driving conditions.
I would just say that where the roads are, they're excellent roads for the most part, very similar to the United States, but there are also major patches of just dirt that we wouldn't experience in the United States.
During rainy season, those conditions can be vastly different considering rivers, river crossings, dirt, and whatnot. So if it's dry season, it's just going to be a whole lot of dust. During rainy season, it's next level.
And yeah, those rivers are definitely something to watch out for during rainy season.
We'll tell you a little bit more about that at the end of this video.
All right, so we've talked about driving. Now, what about camping? Again, iOverlander continues to be just an excellent resource for this part of the world. I will say that in most of Mexico and Central America, we were comfortable asking to camp at different restaurants and businesses. And because Costa Rica is more developed and more touristy, we wouldn't ask to camp everywhere. There are some really nice restaurants that I just feel like they would be, what do you want to do? Like it would be in the United States.
There are no shortages of campgrounds here in Costa Rica. However, there's also no shortages of wild camping. We're going to talk about that in a second. But first, let's talk about campgrounds. What has been your thoughts on campgrounds in which we've stayed here in Costa Rica?
Most of them have everything you would need. They have a sink, they have showers, cold water, bathrooms, and some of them are more simple than others. Some of them are very like beach camp feeling, very basic. Others are more developed, but yeah, they've been great. And the views are incredible. We've had some amazing views at campgrounds here.
We really have. Now, wild camping, you guys, here in Costa Rica is next level. We came down this dirt track here. There's a little bit of mud, and we ended up parking here. This was where we'll camp tonight. If you look down on this side here, there's a nice rocky outcropping. It's a lot of fun to explore. Caspian's been using it as a playground. And down here, Brittany and Caspian are now in the water right in front of me. It's absolutely gorgeous. 100% free. Incredible views. It's unbelievable here. Matter of fact, we're on our 9th year of full-time travel, and in all of that time, our favorite wild camping spot has been right here in Costa Rica just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, my heart has been missing wild camping a lot because we haven't done very much of it through Mexico and Central America. There's a lot of private land, and there's not the public land that we have in the United States, so that's not an option. And there are some security issues too, staying overnight in areas and you're not really sure what's around you or who's around you. But Costa Rica feels completely different. Our very first 2 nights in Costa Rica were both wild camping. Let's talk about things to do in Costa Rica. From everything that we've heard, people come to Costa Rica for 3 main things: waterfalls, the beaches, and the wildlife. And there are so many activities related to those 3 things. Eric and I took surf lessons for the very first time in our lives.
Let's go, paddle. Paddle, 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 paddle. Stand up, back to front foot. Take your position, bend your knees.
And it is not easy, you guys. I now know why all those surfers are like ripped and cut. It is a full body workout.
It was so exciting. It's so exciting to learn something new, and at 35 to get to do that for the first time in my life was a serious thrill. I have been so sore for days and days, but it was totally worth it.
And I'm 52, and I got to do that for the first time in my life. I only did it the first day, and then I had to take a break for a full day before doing it a second time. Caspian has been boogie boarding.
This trip has really taken his time in the water to the next level, and to see him like rolling over in the waves, holding his breath and not being afraid at all has been so exciting as a parent to watch.
It's just awesome. I mean, awesome to see your 5-year-old son stepping into the largest ocean in the world and just enjoying it. Just to see him not have that fear and walk out into the Pacific Ocean. It's pretty awesome. All right, we're going to talk now about how we thought Costa Rica was going to be like and what it's really like, and kind of compare those two.
Every overlander knows that the second you cross from Nicaragua to Costa Rica, all of the prices spike to more like the United States. And for all of us, it's not a week or a 2-week vacation that we budget for. This is life. Like it's 90 days of life, and we didn't know whether we could afford it.
But now that we've gotten here into Costa Rica and have experienced it, it's been a little bit different. Because of the abundance of wild camping, we're able to camp a lot for free.
Yeah, it has totally cut down our lodging expenses anytime we want to. For the most part, we can find free camping. So it's just the choices that you make on your spending. If you're staying at Airbnbs and eating at the touristy restaurants and doing all the tourist activities, yeah, it's gonna be really expensive, but you don't have to do any of those things to have a great time here.
Now, we promised you at the beginning of this video that we were going to tell you how you could overland right here in Costa Rica without having to drive all the way down like we did.
There are several overland outfitters located here in Costa Rica, so it's really easy to fly in from the States or wherever you're coming from and rent a fully outfitted overlanding vehicle and do exactly what we're doing.
So there are 3 companies that we know of, and I know nothing about these companies, so do your own due diligence, but there's Nomad America 4x4, there's Puda Van, and there is Overland Rentals Costa Rica. I think that's the name of it. So those 3 companies, look into those. But essentially you rent an entire overland rig, fly in, rent the rig, and do what we're doing right here in Costa Rica.
Yeah, they usually have a rooftop tent, and then they have totes in the back or a drawer system with all of your kitchen stuff, with your lanterns, everything that you need. It's been really interesting to run into these couples at the various campgrounds and kind of peek in and see what they have. And
I've been a little snoopy. I've asked them, I said, you know, would you mind telling me, like, how much does this cost? And one of the families told me that they were paying for 13 days $1,300, so $100 a day. But understand that that includes your transportation, that includes your shelter, and that includes all of the equipment and material that you need to enjoy Costa Rica. So if that sounds interesting to you, do it, you guys. You will never regret flying down here to overland Costa Rica and experience the things that we've been experiencing here.
It is truly an amazing country for this style of travel, and we can't encourage you to do it enough.
So if you are going to come down here to Costa Rica, you guys, expect the unexpected. Just last week, we went through the deepest river crossing we've ever done. We just took Dauntless through a river crossing that came up to here on the wheel well. So to put that in perspective, we got to about here on the door. Pretty crazy stuff. It was a little freaky.
Yeah, at first we could see the bottom and it seemed just like any other river crossing, but as we kept going, there was a sudden dive. And before I knew it, the water was coming way up over our wheel wells. And like Eric said, we have never gone that deep before in any of our vehicles.
Yeah, I was a little concerned. I'm not going to lie. My heart was racing a little bit. I couldn't let on because Caspian was in the back, but we just kept going deeper and deeper. And then we made it to the other side. And then, of course, we were thinking, oh my gosh, did we get water in the diffs? Did we get water in the transmission? Luckily, Dauntless was well prepared. We didn't have any issues, but expect the unexpected. The other thing to consider are protests. Here in Costa Rica in 2018, 19, and 20, they had protests. Right now in Panama, which is the next country we're headed into, there are protests going on right now where there are road blockades by the locals, which are not dangerous to you as a traveler, but they prevent you from going anywhere.
This is a very common form of civil disagreement in Latin America. Basically, nobody drives the whole Pan American highway without confronting some kind of protest because it's very common. But it can really affect your travels, especially if you're flying in for a short trip. So you definitely want to look into that before you come. If you guys enjoy learning about our journey and what we're doing as we drive around the world, we encourage you to go behind the scenes with us on Patreon. This is a really special community for us, a place where we let our guard down and talk more about the day-to-day experience of our life. And we have some really exciting stuff going on there that we're not really talking about anywhere else. One of those things is that Eric has started to write a book. This kind of came out of the blue, but it is totally happening. There's a writing coach involved and everything. It's really exciting to hear Eric share on Patreon what he's writing about and what that process is, and I imagine that eventually he might even give some sneak peeks into what he's writing.
Yeah, we would love to have you guys on Patreon. You guys come check that out, and we hope you enjoyed this content. If you do, again, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and we will see you in the next video.
Step up, back.